production of WeatherScope, comprehensive severe weather coverage from the Weather Channel.
A major airport closes in the Northeast as a strong storm slams into that part of the country with hurricane-force winds and record rainfall amounts. Good evening. I'm Gene Rubin. Welcome back to the Weather Channel. We have a big nor'easter on our hands, and we'll get to that in just a moment. First, I want to show you some video that was shot earlier today on Long Island. And these pictures are of Kings Park, Long Island, earlier this afternoon. A few people did get out and brave the rain. Winds gusting at that time to 60 miles an hour, and the tides much above normal, making beachcombing impossible, of course. The question is now, what will tomorrow's weather bring us for the New York area, of course? As we go to the composite satellite and radar picture, you can see for yourself lots of green. That shows you where the rain is falling right now. Also lots of white underneath it. That's the cloud picture. Low pressure area located here in southeastern parts of Pennsylvania with its counterclockwise flow bringing in the moisture off of the Atlantic Ocean. Lots of cloudiness, lots of moisture going to be flowing in the rest of this evening. Some good news, though. There is an indication that the southern end of the rainfall area is moving ever so slowly to the north, and I emphasize the words ever and so and slowly. The reason is this. Okay, we have low pressure here. We have high pressure to the north. With its clockwise flow, it's preventing the low pressure area from moving too quickly off to the north. We also have gale warnings in effect. The very deep low pressure area, very strong high. The wind's squeezed in between. We have storm warnings in effect from Chatham to Watch Hill, Rhode Island. We've had some reports on Fire Island of winds gusting to 80 miles per hour. We have flash flood watches in effect for a good part of southern New England, good part of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and eastern Pennsylvania. Rainfall reports as much as 6 1/4 inches around Montville, and a record rainfall for the day in Central Park at 3 1/4 inches. Coastal flooding, also a problem. High tide came in at around 6 p.m. High tide will also come in at 6 a.m. tomorrow. All this water is being pushed into the Long Island Sound area with a very stiff easterly winds, and that flooding will continue, it looks like, into early tomorrow morning. Now here's the good news. Here's the southern end of the rainfall area. Philadelphia, you're in the clear for the most part. Trenton, Allentown, just to mention a few cities. And you could see that Long Island's still getting hit by some very heavy rain, and there are additional bands starting to form. So you're not out of the woods yet, but we're watching for some improvement in the weather as we get into early tomorrow morning. Maybe even after midnight, the rain should lessen up just a bit. We'll show you Lily in just a moment, but first we want to go to Mike Seidel, who's in Long Island right now in Sudden Meadow State Park. How's the weather there right now, Mike?
Gene, still a lot of wind here. We're still getting gusts to 40 miles an hour and still a fair amount of rain. It has eased off a little bit from earlier this evening, and some serious problems on the beaches earlier today. The tide came in. We had high tide here about 5:30 on the north shore of Long Island Sound. And take a look at the video. We want to show you what we saw. Incredible, the force of the water. Just to show you what happens when you have a tidal surge. This is a lifeguard station building, about a 15 by 20 foot building sitting on the beach. It gets moved up the beach from east to west along the water side, and then down the beach it hits the jetty and just totally collapses. Incredible scenes here from the North Shore. Just again, an example of what that storm surge does as far as buildings, and that's why with hurricanes, tropical storms, or nor'easters, we really have to be careful. Major problems tonight. Let me run down a few of them. First of all, LaGuardia Airport is still closed until further notice. Extensive delays. If you've got flights in and out of the other two major airports, Newark or JFK, extensive delays. And getting to Kennedy Airport is going to be tough. If you're traveling the Belt Parkway, you're going to have closures not only in Brooklyn but in Queens, and that is a major thoroughfare out to JFK. If you're going to drive through Queens tonight, bring a boat or just stay home. Major highways in Queens are closed, including the LIE and the Van Wyck. Over in Manhattan, the river, the Harlem River, and also the West Side Highway underwater. Many highways underwater. The best bet is to stay home, and we will certainly keep you covered as this storm continues to churn and batter New York and the Northeast tonight and tomorrow. Back to Eugene in Atlanta.
Thank you, Mike. You stay dry and warm. We are doing that here in Atlanta. Right now, we're going to look at some video from Yankee Stadium, where, of course, the big game tonight, the World Series, has been canceled. As you might guess, there will be no game tonight. You can see the flooding here in the parts of the outfield, the infield covered, but there could be some improvements tomorrow. Looks likely now, or at least quite possible, if the game could get in, just some lighter showers It looks like the worst could be over, but of course, Game 1 has been canceled. We're also going to have to look at Lily right now. But first, I do want to show you, okay, let's look at that frame real quickly. Tomorrow's forecast right now, mostly cloudy, showers possible at game time. So right now, there's a better chance than not that the game will get in, Game 1 of the World Series. Now let's go to Lily right now. We have the low pressure, of course, the big nor'easter up here in southeastern Pennsylvania. Down here in the Atlantic, we have Lily, a major hurricane, winds gusting to 115 miles per hour, the 6th major hurricane of the season. Right here is Bermuda. It looks like now Hurricane Lily will continue on its east-northeast track, staying well south of Bermuda. That's important because the northern edge of the moisture is up in this position. Should the hurricane move a little further to the north, some of this moisture could be entrained into the low pressure area, adding fuel to the fire, so to speak, increasing the chances of heavy rains in the northeast. Right now, that does not look likely that would happen, but we still have to keep a watch on that situation. Here are the latest numbers with Lily. Again, moving east-northeast quickly at 28, winds 115 miles an hour, moving away from the Bahamas and all land areas, and that, of course, is great news.